Language in motion.
Language in motion.
Language in motion.
Language in motion.
Language in Motion was the idea of Dean Joanne Wallace, who was here in the early 2000s as a Dean of International Programs, and she walked by the Science in Motion bands every day and thought finally, why can't we do this for language and culture?
One of the biggest things that Language in Motion does is kind of share culture with local students that often don't experience it. As you probably know, going out into the Huntington community, it's not a very diverse area, so it's really important that we share with them that diversity is interesting and it's very important for us to function as a society, because in the rest of the United States it is a fairly diverse society, and we need to open their eyes and broaden their horizons to see how great having this diversity is and how great of an experience it can be for them to study abroad or just to have international friends.
I want to participate because I know that these kids really need that type of education, that type of exposure, and I've been blessed to have the opportunities to do that and be able to provide that, to have those experiences. So I think it's useful for me to do that.
So I was first introduced to Language in Motion back in high school when we had Language in Motion presenters that came and spoke in my Spanish class. So from that point I got to hear a lot of their stories about studying abroad or the countries that they were from, and that's kind of what piqued my interest in to study abroad in my future. So then once I got to Juniata and I had my study abroad experience, I knew that I wanted to be a part of Language in Motion so that I too could go back to local schools and share with them.
Your students, obviously, who know much less than the teachers do, come in, have their eyes open to the rest of the world. Many of them have come up to presenters afterwards and said, I had no idea you could do something like that. That's so exciting. Can you tell me how I might get involved?
So one of the great things for me was that I actually got to go back to the high school I graduated from to present. So it was really nice to kind of give a really personal story to them and showed them that I was sitting in their place only 4 years before that, and that if I could do it, that it was possible for them too. So it just meant a lot to me knowing that hopefully it was more impactful for them, seeing that I was very similar to them.
I taught the students about gestures and greetings between Mexico and Germany, because, well, as a whole, Mexicans are a lot more open and welcoming than Germans, who are a lot more stay to themselves and such. And so I had the students act out conversations where a German would meet a Mexican and such, and seeing the students apply what they learned to that experience and have fun with it was just great for me to see.
Culture, it's not the culture, it's like the policy in China. Is that in China there's no age limit to drink a beer, but in the US there's age limit to drink a beer. It's like 21 years old. So when I talk about these things, like the whole class is like bowling, and like everybody's so activated, and I feel like, okay, the culture difference is really a culture difference.
So I'm really excited to see the people take their Language in Motion presentation experiences and turn them into something wonderful for them. We've had a lot of students who have gotten Fulbrights, not because they've done Language in Motion, but that helped them, I'm sure, in their application and when they get to the classroom to do work as an English teaching assistant, or else in doing their research makes them a better cultural ambassador. So it's the benefits for the various participants that I think is most rewarding for me. So Juniata students, if you have had any experience with another language or culture, even if you've never left this country, check out Language in Motion. It's a great experience. You won't regret it. Hope to see you at one of our early workshops soon.